So, hello, Brad.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fantastic. How about yourself?
I'm pretty darn good myself.
It's exciting to have you live. I have to say that I'm watching you almost every morning, and I tell everybody to watch you almost every
Yeah.
morning. So, this interview is basically done so that more people get into tapping. Also to help people maybe have better lives, improve whatever aspect of their life they want to improve, enlighten as many people as possible. This interview will also be translated in French so that we can reach as many people as possible. And when I learn Spanish, it'll be in Spanish. So to start, as I'm going to ask everyone else, I would like to perhaps you introduce yourself for people that don't know who you are yet, and maybe start with that.
Okay. Uh, well, I'm Brad Yates, and I tap on my face for a living. uh, Started out years ago. I used to be an actor. I was a struggling actor in Hollywood, and when I had a young family, starting to have kids, I thought, I should probably have a backup career. So I trained to become a hypnotherapist and was really enjoying that. And when my second child was on the way, I thought, I'm enjoying doing hypnotherapy more than I am trying to make a living as an actor. So decided to do that full time. Moved from Los Angeles up to Northern California, and that's when I heard about this tapping thing and fell in love with it. And so little by little started to introduce a little bit of the tapping into my hypnotherapy sessions until it started to shift and became tapping sessions with a little bit of hypnotherapy at the end.
That's awesome. So explain to people that don't know what tapping is, what it is basically, and how does it help? What causes it to have such a great effect?
Yeah, good question, because some people are probably right now saying, what do you mean you tap on your face for a living?
Exactly.
And I know it looks a little strange, it's a little different, and I know I could say to people, hey, if I could teach you a simple technique that would help you reduce stress like nothing else, it would help you have better health, better relationships, a better career, make more money, would you be interested? And people would be like, oh yeah, okay, so just tap on your face. You know what, we're fine, thanks. I'll pass.
It's so true. It is.
So I know it looks a little different, but around 1980, a gentleman named Roger Callahan, a psychologist, was working with a woman with a lifelong water phobia. And at the time, he was just expanding his interests and had learned a little bit about acupressure. Acupressure, acupuncture, for thousands of years in Chinese medicine, they've said there's this flow of energy through the body along pathways called meridians. So when this energy is flowing naturally, we experience our natural state of health and well-being. When this energy gets stuck or disturbed in some way, then we don't feel so good, either emotionally or physically. So an acupuncturist would stick needles in key points around the body and face to stimulate that natural flow of energy, get you feeling better again, clear out whatever the disturbance is. So Dr. Callahan was working with this woman, and she said one of the symptoms of her water phobia was a knot in her stomach. And he said, okay, let's see, I've learned that the end point for the stomach meridian is right here under the eye. Let's see what happens if we tap under your eye for a moment. And after a moment, she said, it's gone. He said, what's gone? She said, the fear. And starts running towards the swimming pool. And he starts running after her, saying, wait, stop! She said, no, it's okay. I know I don't know how to swim. I'm not going to jump in. But she was able to splash water in her face, which before she couldn't do, and no reaction, no negative disturbance. So Dr. Callahan thought, that's very interesting. And he starts trying this with different clients. And within a year, he put himself out of business because all of his patients who had been coming to him on a weekly basis were now symptom-free. So he called this new technique that he was using thought field therapy, or the Callahan technique, and started teaching it. And one of his first students was a gentleman named Gary Craig. And Gary had been an engineering student at Stanford, and so thinking like an engineer, he started to take Dr. Callahan's method, which involved different algorithms tapping different points in different sequences depending on what the issue is. And Gary thought, okay, what if we just tap these 8 points in a row? No matter what the issue is, we just tap all the points in a row. And he found that he got the same great results without having to figure out, okay, which points to tap. And he called this streamlined version emotional freedom technique, or EFT. And now a lot of people call it either EFT or just tapping. So basically, we're tapping with our fingertips on these meridian points to clear out the disturbance. And the main thing that shows up is that it clears out stress. We have a recent research study that was done showing that this tapping process reduced cortisol levels by an average of 24%. Cortisol is the stress hormone that gets released, when we get into fight or flight. And when it gets stuck in the body, it has a number of negative side effects. So tapping clears that out. So we have this scientific evidence showing that tapping is one of the most effective and quickest ways of reducing stress.
Wow, that's fabulous. Because on the other hand, you see, I'm studying like how the brain functions when you want to learn faster, or I'm trying to make a link between people that are more spiritual and people that are more scientific oriented, to basically show them how they can improve their life, no matter how their perspective is, that it's basically the same thing. And one of the aspects that is more scientific is how we can do that by using a reprogramming of the brain, or how brain waves work, how perception works, etc. And evidently, when you reduce, it's proven fact now that when you reduce stress and you increase the level of happiness, your brain learns faster and is able to, even the neuroplasticity of the brain is able to help you shift even the way the brain functions, just because of some hormonal changes. So if tapping can reduce stress by that much, that's amazing. Because on top, and if we look at the spiritual aspect, if we want, of self-development, like the law of attraction, we know that to attract happiness or well-being, we need to be in a state of well-being. So if tapping can reduce that level of stress, then it's phenomenal on every level. I'm quite impressed. Because you see, and I understand what you're saying, it's true. People are going to be okay with acupuncture. They're going to be okay with changing their lives. But then you introduce something new as tapping, and it's like, I'm going to look foolish, or it doesn't work, or what is this thing? It's impossible. It's the impossibility aspect. Do you have like stories of people that have come back to you with incredible stories of things that have happened to them?
I mean, there's a whole range of some echo.
Yes. I think it's gone now. Is it gone?
Let me see if I turn that down. Okay. Oh, much better. Yeah, there's a whole range of things. I wanted to jump on one of the points you said there, that when people look at it and go, oh, it's impossible, I don't want to do this, that's one of the ways we keep ourselves in our comfort zone.
Yeah.
See, I like to say that self-sabotage is simply misguided self-love. There's a part of us that believes that where I'm at, the level of success that I have, the level of health that I have, all that stuff, is where I feel safest, based on programming from the past. So anything that comes along and says, hey, I'm going to open the door and let you out of your comfort zone, part of it says, whoa, no. So it's very easy for people to then look at something like this and say, oh, that can't work, that's stupid, that's this. And part of us is going, boy, now I won't use it and I won't step out of my comfort zone.
I totally agree. And so much I agree, because I teach people in my coaching sessions that there's the two things people are most afraid of is extreme failure and extreme success. Because those are things we absolutely have no clue how they function. And what I teach people actually a lot for attracting the best and changing their lives is to create a new comfort zone. Because I tell people a lot that if your comfort zone is lack, if your comfort zone is running after money or running after health or running after something, well, that's your comfort zone, and it's going to be very difficult to achieve it because you don't know what your state of being is once you achieve that point. So that's so scary. The achievement point is so scary that you feel comfortable running after and never achieving. So
Right.
I teach people to actually stay like 15, 20, 30 minutes every day in a state of achievement of whatever they want, where they actually release that stress or that anxiety. Because I tell people, and I lived through that, I think a lot of people do, that if you actually think, okay, I have it all, let's say I have it all, and there's this sudden fear that emerges of, oh my God, what am I going to do now? I have it all, there's nothing to do. And that's scary, you know,
Yeah.
whereas we should be saying, great, I had never have anything to do, things just happen to me all the time beautifully. So I agree with you, and if tapping can release that, that's so powerful, because I believe, as you say, this is such a big. I think it's one of the main roadblocks of success to people is changing their comfort zone into having the new one that's the one of success, which is the one we should always be in, because then everything occurs easily. Correct?
Yeah, and you could say that we are 100% successful 100% of the time. It's just a question of what we're being successful at, you know. And most of us are much more comfortable being successful at chasing than having. You know, I know how to chase. I know how to, you know, have it always just out of reach. I'm really good at that. So I think I'd rather keep doing that than the having part, because that one I'm not so familiar with. That's a little uncomfortable. So we're very successful. It's like we're always motivated. People will say, I need to be motivated. No, you're already motivated. You just need to be more motivated for this than for that. More motivated to exercise than to stay in bed. You know, it's not, gee, if I had some motivation, I'd get up and out of bed and exercise. No, you're just more motivated to stay in bed than you are to exercise. And so we want to look at, you know, motivation is, a motive is a reason. Motivation just means that we have reasons. So it's when our reasons for staying in bed outweigh our reasons for exercising, and it's about that, like you said, that chasing and having. I have more reasons to keep myself in a place that I understand, that's familiar, that's comfortable, than I do have reasons to be in a place where I have no idea what's going on. I don't know, you know, if I had all that money, gee, I'd have to make investments, and I'd have to trust people, and I'd have to pay taxes on it, and, you know, and part of the brain is going, I can't deal with that, you know, but chasing it, and everybody I know is chasing it, so I'm in with everybody else, you know, that I'm familiar. So we're very motivated to be in a place that's comfortable, in a place that's familiar, in a place that feels safe. So, but that comes up as stress. You know, that thought, that's why, you know, it's great what you say about having your clients imagine the having. So that's what I tell you, is imagine the having. Now check in with yourself and see how good you feel, and if there's any stress there. And if there's any stress, like, oh, I have to pay taxes on that, great. Even though I don't have to pay taxes on that, and then we start doing the tapping to clear the stress, then you go back into that place of imagining having, and it's like, and it's like, oh yeah, I can do this. This feels good.
I totally agree, and I use, like, I do your tapping. I need to say now lately on one that is you do a session on miracles. So I started doing that because I you know, I think, why not have more of them, and you know, and I realized that it's true that there's some things we call miracles just because our mind cannot find the path to get there, but the path exists, like all past exists. Everybody has done something similar. So all past exists. We call miracles things that we cannot understand how to get there. And oh my God, so it's such a big thing. I can't figure it out. So I use that a lot, and other ones as well. And I tell people to, but it's true that I think the biggest block people have is to try it by thinking, oh, I'm going to spend 15 minutes there and it's not going to give results. When I tell them, well, you're spending 15 minutes anyway.
Yeah, that's like saying, okay, I want to have a six-pack on my abs, and I go and I do 5 sit-ups, and I go, it's not quite there. No, sit-ups don't work.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to take more than 5 sit-ups, and it's going to take a lot of time. Now, with EFT, especially when people hear the foundation story, and Mary losing her fear of water in a matter of moments. So people then think, well, so tapping has to happen, this miracle has to happen in a matter of minutes, or tapping doesn't work. No. We call those 1-minute wonders, and they happen sometimes. I've experienced them with people who have had past traumatic events, something that's happened to them in their childhood or 20 years ago or whatever it is, that they still think about on an almost daily basis. It still upsets them when they think about it. They feel physically ill when they think about it. And sometimes we can be tapping just for a matter of minutes, and then they go, oh, wow, that's kind of like watching it on a movie now. It's like it didn't happen to me, it happened to someone else. No physical symptom, no stress. And very often, that's lasting. That memory, that event, never bothers them again.
It's sometimes, isn't it like when you put something in the light, like pure light of consciousness, it just the association of feelings or the connection we made of a significance we gave it just disappears, because that's just related emotions that need not be once it's totally put in light.
Right. Right,
with total honesty, basically, with total no fear and honesty, correct?
Right, because it's our beliefs about what happened that bother us. It's very often not what happened, because what happened heals. If you get a cut someplace, it's going to heal, and in a matter of maybe weeks, you won't even see. There may not even be a scar. You may not even see it. But if we have if we cut ourselves because we were doing something stupid, then we've got an emotional thing, and that's going to stick there. So the wounds that are physical tend to heal, but the pain that sticks is the one that has the story. So yeah, as you said, if you put it under that pure light, and you can see, oh, what happened just happened. The rest of it is just my story about it. It's just the beliefs that I have about it. If somebody was mean to me, if my friend takes my toy away, I might get over that. But if I have this belief that he's telling, my friend is saying that I don't deserve to have that toy, I'm not good enough, he's not my friend anymore, he doesn't like me, and then I start to have self-esteem issues about that, and then it's all going on in my head. I have no idea what he's thinking, but this is all going on in my head. That's the stuff that I carry with me. So as you say, yeah, with the tapping, we're allowing ourselves to clear the stress out, put it under that light, and go, oh yeah, it just happened. It doesn't mean anything about me. And then we can let it go, and we're free. And the problem is that we have these things that happen in our childhood, and we make these decisions about ourselves, and then we go and we make all these decisions throughout life based on that. Where we're at right now is the sum total of all the choices that we've made, and we made those choices at an emotional level. So as we tap and we give ourselves this emotional freedom, we have the freedom to make better choices.
Not depending on past opinions, because evidently our perception at that time was completely different and based on totally different experience than what we're experiencing today on top of it. So it's not even, the past is not a real reality, it's just the reality of how we perceived it with the knowledge we had in the past.
Absolutely.
What I like, one of the aspects I love about your tapping is the aspect of self-love. I believe that whether it's the law of attraction or even in the brain level of how we react, we often self-sabotage. I believe that there's 3 pillars of success, and one of the major pillars is self-esteem. I believe there's time management, goal setting, and self-esteem. And if there's one of them that is lacking, you can't go very far. And the self-esteem one is what people refuse to accept the most. Like, everybody's okay, but it's the one that actually self-sabotage them the most because they feel they're not good enough. And everything they do is basically somehow to prove that they're good enough somewhere, that they can be loved. And what I love about your tapping is that it always brings back, and I accept myself. I have this, and I still love and accept myself. And I find this is such a powerful wording. I believe words are so powerful, correct? So this is so powerful for people to accept themselves, even before even wanting to change anything. That's just so that people love themselves no matter what they have within them, so that they heal that guilt, heal the past, heal whatever has occurred or whatever their perception was, whatever they're done and what their bad choices were. Bad, not meaning not good, just different choices they've made that led them where they are now. And just, I love that about your tapping, is because you bring that acceptance and that love. And in my coaching, self-love is one of the major components, because if you don't deserve, if you never think you deserve what you want, there's never any chance you're going to access it. You're always going to put it further away because you're just not good enough for it. So I like that a lot about it. And I have a question, because I watched other tapping on just to compare lately. And did you come up with your own, how does it work? Do you come up with your own wording? Do you come up with your own sequences? Are you inspired? How does it work in the tapping world?
Yeah, that last one. I always feel like I don't really come up with it. The ideas come to me. You know, people will give me suggestions, but for the most part, most of the almost 400 videos I have right now, just an idea will come to me of, here's something that I think will help people, myself included. It's, quite a few of them were just, I'll be going through my day and something will come up and it's like, oh, this would be a good tapping round. And so I'll have the concept for it, and I might have a couple of ideas, but for the most part, once I start tapping, I'm just getting myself out of the way, and the words come through me. And, I compare it to channeling, and I'm always careful of using that word channeling, because we think of like Abraham Hicks and, somebody having some entity or group of entities speaking through them, and I'm not aware of anything like that. It's just that, sometimes things will come through me and I go, wow, that was brilliant. I wish I'd thought of it. and just phrases that'll come out, I'll come up with analogies and I'll say, well, it's kind of like this, and we tapping along, and the person will say, how did you know? That actually happened to me. There's a connection that happens when we're working together. Everything's energy. We're all connected. So I just sort of trust the process, and that the words are going to come out that need to come out. And then that's why sometimes my tapping rounds tend to be longer than a lot of other people's, because I just keep going as the ideas come to me. And, sometimes I'll try to be wrapping it up. It's like, oh, we've been going for a long time. Like, people often ask me, can you make 5-minute videos? Because I don't always have time for a longer video. And I say, I try. I have a timer going all the time, and I'm always shooting for 5 minutes, and I'll get to around there, but the ideas are coming. It's like, oh, you got to say this, and now you've got to cover this, and you've got to address this now, until finally it's like, okay, now you can wrap it up. And in the videos, that's usually around 8 to 10 minutes. Sometimes when I'm doing a session or I'm doing a teleseminar or something like that, I've had rounds that can go for 20, 30, 40 minutes, just because, especially if I'm working with someone one-on-one and I'm tuned into the person and there's just ideas, and it's like, oh, I think this person needs me to address this, and I need to cover this aspect, and just trying to look at all the different aspects of the issue that we might want to bring up and then clear out.
So yes, I wanted to talk about that. So what are, it's like somebody asked me once, who do you think should be coached? And I, as a coach, it was difficult not to let my ego on the side. But the truth is, I really wanted to say, well, everybody needs a coach, you know? So I know if I ask you, you're going to say, well, everybody should do tapping sessions with me. But I would like to know, so if someone wants to get, you know, a session with you, how does it work? How long do they have to prepare? What do they need to prepare to get in touch with you, etc., etc.?
Well, I have on my website just a place you can click to find out about working with me in sessions. Uh, you know, I do have an intake form that I ask people to fill out just so that it just helps them focus on what precisely is going on in there. There are questions about about past events. And I would say this is just gathering the usual suspects. You know, it's like there's been a crime committed. Let's just gather all the usual suspects and have them line up so that we know who to look at. It's like, okay, it's this one or it's this one. And it just gets us focused so that when we actually are together, we don't have to spend a lot of time looking at all that. And I generally, you know, I mean, sometimes I work with someone for one session because, you know, they just have one thing that it's like, oh, I just need to have some clearing on this. Generally, it's over a number of sessions so we can keep building it. You know, with tapping, it's like peeling the layers of an onion, and so we want to clear that so I can be working with someone over time. And just things come up in the fourth, fifth, sixth session that they may not have remembered. Or it's something that it's like, wow, why didn't we work on this in the first session? It's like, well, you weren't ready in the first session to talk about that. You know, there was all these walls. It was that stuff was, you know, far back in the vault, and we need to, you know, clear through a number of different doors to get there. So, you know, there's a lot of, I mean, I recommend tapping on a daily basis just because it's, you know, we have basic body hygiene. You know, we brush our teeth whether we need it or not. We take a shower whether we need it or not. Because we know that if we don't, pretty soon people are going to start to be looking at us going, hey, how you doing? Walking away from us. So before we get to that point, we have a daily practice of hygiene. It's the same with stress. I look at this as energy hygiene. You know, we want to be clearing that stuff out because we don't think about stress. We just let it build up to the point where, you know, it would be like not taking a shower till the point that people are holding the nose around us. With the stress, we let it build up to the point that someone says, hey, how's it going? You go, shut up! Where did that come from? Well, it's all the stress that's built up over the week or month or years, and it just gets to that point, and just one word can really set us off. So we want to be clearing that stuff out on a daily basis. And then there's some stuff that, yeah, you want to work with a professional and, you know, get that coaching because, you know, it's like we were saying at the beginning about the self-sabotage being misguided self-love. There's that part of us that doesn't want to know what there is to clear. You know, I don't want to go, I'm not going to tap on this issue because I believe, and I won't even think this consciously, at an unconscious level, I'm thinking, yeah, I don't need to tap on that. Because part of me is thinking, yeah, because that thing is keeping me in my comfort zone. I don't want to let go of that. So by working with someone else who's not invested in your comfort zone, but is invested in your future, so it's like working with a personal trainer. You know, you can go to the gym and you're lifting weights and you go, 1, 2, oh, that's good. But the trainer's going to go, come on, 5 more. I know you've got it in you. And you break past that, what you believe is your limit. Because what we go through the day thinking, well, that's as much as I can do. It's not a real limit.
Well, for sure you're going to have me soon as one of your coaching clients. And really I welcome everybody else to go and on the YouTube videos and everywhere where I'm going to place this interview, there's going to be links to your website, links to your videos so people can really figure out what we're talking about if they didn't still understand. And I'm curious personally of what the Money Beyond Belief with Joe Vitale is, how it started, and because also what I love that you say in a few of your videos, and that I have come to almost have to fight almost in the minds of people is there's these two beliefs that are so powerful. One is if you're spiritual, you're not supposed to be rich. And the other one is if you're having fun, you're not going to make money out of it. It's either you work hard and you make money, or you're enjoying what you're doing, but let's not sell that. So, and so I love it because when I saw that you had tapping on money, and that you repeatedly say to people it's okay, it's part of the energy of this universe, and I tell to people that are very spiritual, I say, God wouldn't have put all these stores if it wasn't for us to enjoy them.
Right, right. I mean, what kind of God says, I'm going to create all this wonderful abundance, but it's only for bad people?
Exactly.
Exactly. My good children, my spiritual, loving children are going to forsake. I mean, abundance is abundance. If you go to, say, the Grand Canyon, or a beach, or any place where there's just spectacular scenery, which is just natural abundance, does a spiritual person say, ooh, I'm just going to look at a little bit of it? I'm going to let the greedy people look at the whole panorama view, but I'm spiritual, so I'm just going to look at that one rock. Oh, yes, I'm satisfied looking at that one. Oh, that one little bit of ocean. Yes, that's all I need. And I'm, this is not to put anyone down who's spiritual and has those beliefs, because you're not stupid. I'm not saying, you're stupid for thinking that. I'm not laughing at anyone in particular. I'm laughing at us as human beings, because we have these beliefs.
We all do that in certain aspects of our lives.
It's been passed on to us from all kinds of training. We have all kinds of, oh, look at St. Francis, who was born rich but gave away all of his belongings and all of his money to live a poor monk's life. And Mother Teresa and Gandhi just wearing rags and all this, so we have these images of spiritual people who have forsaken anything like that. But it's not, but abundance is abundance. And so being spiritual means being connected to the source of everything, the source of all abundance. So I don't believe that we are asked to, we don't want to, saying, well, abundance is everything, and then we go and we forsake ourselves, and we're greedy, and we make choices that we know are hurtful to ourselves or others, because that's obviously not spiritual. Making money in that way is not spiritual, but, just allowing abundance and being part of that connection to abundance, and it comes in. And as far as having fun, plenty of very successful people will say the best way to make money is doing something you love. I know that I make a lot more money doing what I love than when I used to have a job doing stuff that I hated. It's always been much more profitable for me to do what I love.
Definitely. And what I say to people is success is based on so many different aspects. And if the child inside of us is so angry about the job we're doing, he's going to spend all the money anyway, or get us ill, or do other things to us that is unsuccessful at the end of the day. So it's better to have a life that is equilibrated, that's successful in different ways, and one of them evidently is to do something we love and get paid well for doing it. And I know, because I've done really the path of most resistance. I've done things that I was good at, that I didn't necessarily love, that paid well, until I decided to let go of the universe and do what I really felt I loved, and say, you know what, I don't even care what happens, I have to do this, and then we'll see, and trusting, and somewhere trusting that everything's going to come together. So, so please tell me about this Money Beyond Belief and what it's all about. I'm very curious.
Well, I had an opportunity to, I exchanged a couple of emails with Joe Vitale many years ago, and then he was doing this program called Attractitude-US, and asked me to be one of the guest speakers on that. And we really hit it off and worked well together, and I said, let's do let's do a program, just the two of us. And he said, yeah, well, let's do it on this. And he came up with the title Money Beyond Belief. So basically it was two teleclasses. We had a group of people on, and the first one was so it was all about the beliefs about money that stop us from having it. Because while consciously most of us say, oh, I'd love to have more money, I'd love to have a new car, a big house, all of that stuff, most of us have a lot of negative programming about money. You know, it could be the old line, money is the root of all evil. Rich people are greedy. Rich people are evil. There's all these things. So while consciously we say, oh, I'd love to have more money, I'd love to enjoy this stuff, part of us in our mind is saying, yes, but then I'd be a bad person. And it's much more important that I be a good person than that I have money, as though it's one or the other. So so in one call, we tapped on the issues about money, like the fear that money is the root of all evil, that money is bad, all the reasons why we couldn't or shouldn't want money, and why we should block it. And then in the second call, we talked about all the reasons why we shouldn't have money. You know, it could be, money's fine. Yeah, I have no problem with money. It's me that's the problem. I'm not good enough. I'm not deserving enough. I'm a bad person, so I shouldn't have any nice things. So it's all the reasons why I couldn't or shouldn't have money. So we were clearing that stuff. So because we, you know, at an unconscious level, we block opportunities to have money all the time. You know, I can make a sales call. No, I couldn't. I could go meet those people. No, I couldn't. And we're not even aware of it. Then we're sitting there thinking, why don't I have any money? Well, because of all this unconscious stuff about why we couldn't or shouldn't have money, or why money is wrong for us. So that's what the Money Beyond Belief. You know, I love that title because, and I've used it for a lot of other things, Love Beyond Belief and Body Beyond Belief, because it has sort of a double meaning. One is, it's beyond belief. It's, oh, so much money, just unbelievable amount of money. But it also is an explanation of the process, because it's our limiting beliefs. So I have the money right now that I believe I should. So what is the money beyond those current beliefs? So that's what we're talking about. It's the money that's beyond our current level of beliefs.
I love it. I love it. And it is true that a lot of the beliefs are stopping. And often what I tell people is look at what you want and just stop for a second and ask yourself, what are you going to do next? Sometimes we're so stuck on what we want that we don't even know what's going to happen. What's the step after? And so if you do, it's like the edge of a cliff. If you don't know that there's a bridge after that cliff, you're never going to approach the cliff. So you're always going to be wanting, but oh, if I get there, I don't even know what I'm going to do with it after. So I love the beyond belief, the passing through all the stop signs.
I've had people, I remember talking to a woman once, and I said, what do you want? She said, I want $500 million. That's my goal. And at that time, you know, she wasn't even making $50,000 a year. And I'm like, see, it's not believable to you. And not only that, Earl Nightingale is one of the great, founders of personal development. He once said, most people say they want more money than they actually do, and settle for much less money than they can actually have. You know, so it's like, what are you going to do with $500 million? Enjoy it. It's like, what do you really want? And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with having $500 million. Be a billionaire if that's who you really feel that you're meant to be. But is it who you really feel you're meant to be, or is it, you know, the media telling you that you should be? Is it a should? You know, then I'll prove myself. Then I'll be worthy of love. And that's why it's so key what you were saying earlier about self-love. You know, I figured out years ago, gee, my actual job is teaching people to love themselves. You know, when you get right down to it, because when you love yourself, yes, you want to give yourself the good things in life. You just are healthier. So, you know, you might say, well, yeah, if I did a job that I love, I might make good money, but I could get this corporate job that I would hate, but if I really worked hard, then I'd make a lot more money. It's like, would you need that extra money? And would it actually be worth it? You know, you might say technically, yeah, but doing what you love, you have the possibility to make more than enough money to live the life that you really want to live. And it's figuring out for ourselves, what is that life? And I'm not here to put the limits on anyone and say, you should want less. Not at all. Just find out for yourself, what is it that I really want? What's really going to make me happy? You know, am I going to, do I need a private jet? Or was that about something else? Was that about someone else? And as we go through and we get to a point of, we recognize more and more, this is who I am. This is what I like to have. So, and then we free ourselves up and just treat ourselves with love. And plus, the more we love ourselves, the more we take care of ourselves physically. So we tend to be healthier. That's why I always say, people will try to bully themselves into exercise or into losing weight by hating on themselves. Oh, you're fat, you're ugly, you're this, you're that. No. You want to love yourself right where you are, and the more and people say, but if I love myself right where I am, then I'll just settle. I think, no. When you love yourself right where you are, you want to take even better care of yourself. We're much more loving to ourselves, and really it's at the heart of creating the life that we really want to live.
Yes, and I totally agree with you. And when people start, and I come from myself, from learning to love myself for who I am and going through the process, and I realized that once that the true acceptance of who we are as a whole being is, proving first of all anything is useless, but then we're much more true to our own self. And when I try to teach that to others, I say, well, try to always look at yourself as your best friend, and what you would do and wouldn't do to your best friend to stay friends. You wouldn't insult your best friend. You would at least say hello in the morning when you see the person. You would smile. You would not criticize. You would not lie. You would not make promises you won't keep. All the things that people do to themselves, they would never, ever accept others doing that to them or do that to somebody they care for. And I say, if before to go in the process of self-love, at least act with yourself with kindness, generosity of heart, love as you would love someone else, and slowly you will get that comfort that you are pretty much okay. You're great. You're a great human being, just the way you are. And then I realized, and I had that happen, it was quite astonishing. I had that happen with people I coached on totally different things. I coached them about money, I coached them about career, and then they started losing weight, they started getting in shape. And I wasn't coaching them about that at all. But
go figure.
But they love themselves so much. They were saying, I can't, like when I see a dish that is greasy, I just, my body can't take it anymore because it's not good for me. And I love myself too much to take that in me as a poison. Some people stop drinking like too much alcohol. I had things happen that are, miracles, as you say. But those are all things because when someone loves themselves truly, then they're going to take care of themselves in every aspect of their life unconsciously. Then they're going to be good enough to get all the good stuff in their life. So suddenly money comes easily. Suddenly, everything is better. And what I love about that, and that's the purpose of most of these videos, is because my let's say what drives me is to increase that level throughout the planet. And every time one individual gets to that level of self-love, it radiates to the others and it inspires the others to say, wow, that person seems pretty okay, and maybe I am okay too, or something. It radiates to the kids. It's, less conflicts, less fights, less wars, less so many things when people are just okay. They don't need to show off. They don't need to fight. They don't need to prove the point. They're just okay, and everybody is just okay the way they are. So that's what I love about what you do as well.
Yeah, it's clearing fear and stress out, all that stuff that motivates the need to hurt other people. You know, when we're, anytime we want to hurt anyone else, it's because something inside of us is feeling hurt. If we're, you know, just imagine at the times that you're feeling really good about yourself, in a really honest way, just feeling, oh, I feel healthy, I feel happy, could you possibly say something mean to someone else? You know, that's why, you know, look at kids bullying and the popular kids putting other kids down. It's like, okay, they're not as happy as they think they are, or as they're trying to convince themselves they are, or as you believe they are. Because, you know, the really successful kids who are feeling really good about themselves are helpful to others. They're kind to others. They're encouraging to others. They're not putting others down. So, and it's true of all of us. When we're taking it out on someone else, it's because something inside of us doesn't feel good. So, I mean, that's part of my thing is I look around, there's so many things in the world that I would love to see improved, but I can't personally do them. But I know the people out there that can do them are out there. So if I can help enough people clear their blocks so that they're out there doing the good they can do, or at the very least just being kinder to themselves, which in turn will cause them to be kinder to others, the world's got to be a better place.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I thank you for doing so. And I want to encourage as many people as possible to get into tapping, um, get in touch with you if they need personal sessions, and get on your website to get more information. And I know you have some products there as well that can help people. And are you gonna write a book, or are you gonna do something? You know, the
Well,
big thing now is everybody's writing a book. So
yeah, you know, I wrote a children's book. Here, pardon my reach. The Wizard's Wish.
ah, nice.
Yeah. So yeah, I wanted to, because so many of these issues that we have started in childhood,
Yeah.
and I thought, man, if we could teach kids how to tap so they could clear it that day rather than having it control their lives
Years
for
later.
20, 30, 40 years. And not only that, but if they clear that stuff, then they'll be sharing their gifts with the world, and you know, because every kid has the potential to be a Gandhi or an Edison, or you know, or something that makes a difference, that makes a positive difference. And when that stuff gets shut down, everybody loses. So if kids had a way of clearing that stuff to, you know, to live happier, more joyful lives, it benefits all of us. So I wanted to come up with a fun storybook kind of way. So, you know, it's got little illustrations all the way through it and stuff. And, you know, I talk about that, that the stuff inside of us that I talk about as yuckies. There's little creatures inside, and so the wizard, this wizard, is tapping with his wand, and the yuckies pop out, and then realizes, you know, everyone, he can't do it for everyone, so he needs to teach people how to tap out yuckies. And they see we don't have wands, and he's going, oh wait, that works. We have wands, and so using our fingers as wands, and
Nice.
so I just wanted to find a fun way to teach it. You know, as far as a, you know, I've contributed to some books, and I wrote a smaller book, but there are so many books being done about EFT. I don't know that I'm much more of a I'm less academic and more of a performer. You know, I'd rather perform songs than write a book about music, basically.
Yes. Well, we never know. You know, I have a dream of having a kind of an online school that would teach kids everything that's not taught in school. And, you know, like Tai Chi, meditation, you know, the power of prayer, the power of, you know, and I wanted it at one point to be called night school, like the cool, you know, the nights are cool, you know, and so that you become,
Oh, yeah, cool.
nights are cool,
Nice, cool.
and night school, not day
Right.
school, so that kids actually find out everything because I was a very good student of school, but a very bad student in life. because school never taught me, you know, about health, about nutrition, about meditation, about money, about nothing, that it really would have helped me a great deal in life. So I'm thinking it would be great to have, and tapping would be one of them. You know, we could have all these different aspects that kids could just go online and get information and, you know, find out how to not have to go through 30, 25, 50 years of wandering in life, to then, you know, spend so much in self-development to be able to heal these 30 years and do what they really are meant to do on this planet as soon as they know what it is, and not, you know, go wandering, trying to please everybody else's dream and career choices, for eventually deciding at 50 that that was absolutely not what they wanted to do with their life. So maybe we'll talk about that again at another point. But I love your book, and I'll put everything on everywhere where I'm going to place this video, so that people can really get more information and get in touch with you. And I'll get in touch with you. I want to go further in my success. I have to say, lately I've been, maybe it's the miracle tapping, but I've had a lot of miracles happen in my life. So I'm kind of riding this wave of surreal life, which is quite wonderful. But I want to go further. So I'll get in touch with you and have some sessions, because I want to, you know, for me, I want to get better. And I think everybody should, actually. Everybody should, coaches or no coaches, everybody should, you know, improve themselves, because that's what we're here for.
Yeah, just to allow yourself more. It's, you know, even beyond it being an obligation. I mean, there are certain suggestions that about we're obliged to be the best we can. It's something, you know. There's a spiritual. It's like someone said, you know, God gives us more gifts than we can ever use. Our gift back to God is to develop those gifts and share them as much as we possibly can in our lifetime. But not just as an obligation, but it just feels good. Yeah. You know, I don't make all these videos just because, oh, it's hard, but I feel I've got to do that. I've got to do this for the world. It's like, I love it. I love what I do. So I love having opportunities. You know, so I'm grateful for this interview, because I love being able to share about this work and introduce people to this concept of setting ourselves free to enjoy life at a greater level. So, you know, when we develop ourselves more, we yes, definitely share our gifts more, we make a bigger difference. We also just enjoy life that much more. So it's a total win-win situation.
Definitely, and I wish for more and more people to have that chance and have the opportunity to enjoy life, love themselves more, share the wonderful feeling they have when they're true happiness, right, that is unconditional, and get in touch with you. And if I have questions, I'll forward them to you. Hopefully we'll get more and more people interested and practicing tapping.
Awesome.
I really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's such a pleasure, but it's also an honor, because I've been following you now for, I'd say, over almost 2 years. So so it's like it's really endearing to have you talk with me directly.
Thank you. That's very gratifying.
Thank you so much, and we'll keep in touch, definitely.
All right. Thank you.
I wish you all the best. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.